Do you think the Act Man is going bald? He's been wearing a lot of hats recently. But in any case, what's up, everybody? It's me, the Act Man, casually pushing 47 years of age and wearing hats indoors. And today, we're gonna be grifting about how evil Sony is for removing discs, while obviously buying every single piece of slop Sony throws in front of our faces. Many such cases in this industry, an industry norm actually at this point.
Sony is currently digging their own grave. They are desperately hoping that all their detractors lay down, die, and accept the death of physical media to embrace a dystopian, all-digital future, one that's not half as cool as The Matrix. Whoa. After revealing their latest supervillain plot to destroy all physical games in the galaxy, Sony is now dealing with one of the largest and most
That was way more funny than anything Alana Pierce has done in her life, though. I will give him that.
deserved PR dumpster fires. Man, you'd have better luck finding Bigfoot than someone willing to unironically defend this company anymore. It's been a few weeks since Sony's bizarre.
I think sadly we're seeing a lot of people willingly and full-heartedly, in fact, defend this company and it's all of its decisions. Some people really like hurting themselves for some reason.
Seppuku attempt. And every day since July 1st, they have been relentlessly mauled, mocked, made fun of, and ratioed across all social media. Seeing such a strong reaction from the gaming community, you know, it gave me hope that we could make a change, because everyone hated that, what Sony did, and nobody is on their side. Nobody. Right?
Wrong!
Sony actually responded to us. Not officially, of course, and I can't be 100% certain, but they obviously don't respect their fans enough to communicate with them. I mean, they just come out and said that. This shit's crazy. La 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 la. I'm not owned. I'm not owned. Call it a hunch. But it seems like Sony has outsourced their PR department into the hands of the people that gamers trust more than anyone else.
India?
Game journalists.
The way he leaps off of rooftops and flips backwards to face the camera before falling into a headfirst dive is just full of the exaggerated swagger of a black.
As I said in the last video, Sony's position is indefensible, which is why they didn't provide any justification for it. And even now, like what I've seen amongst some of the games,
the justification is that they're literally greedy and they want money, okay, Ackman? This is the one time in your life you could actually, like, start giving us that communism good speech, and I would not even be too much against it because it's used against Sony this time.
game journalism is like, it's hard to call it a defense, but this is the best counter argument we got, so we got to talk about it. The only arguments I've seen in Sony's defense have come from those inside the industry. And YouTuber Moore's Law is Dead has proposed a compelling theory that Sony has also deployed a small contingent of bots. I mean clankers. And like the B1 battle droid,
and they really are pretty useless.
a company as big as Sony is more than capable of launching its own misinformation.
Yeah, they actually did have bots. We did talk about it a little bit, but those bots were horrible and did not achieve a lot of results. It was obvious that those are not real opinions. Sony couldn't even be asked to properly handle their bots. Kind of crazy stuff, honestly.
Campaign. And it seems some game journalists have fallen for it. Though to be fair, although I'm going to be criticizing companies like IGN, Eurogamer, Kotaku, and Polygon because they've all come out and said, leave
Ah, yes, hitting pretty low, I see that. Understandable.
alone the multi-billion-dollar company. Most, if not all of these outlets have also
Act Man, friend of the channel, great guy. He stole that from me. Leave my bit. Yes, the movements, the odd movements, the patented, trademarked odd movements. He has a pattern, the friend pattern. That's right. Bestest guy ever. I like him very much. Very cool. He watches all of my videos.
posted articles criticizing Sony and their decision.
It's honestly one of the most baffling corporate failures to read the room since Microsoft handed Don Matrick a microphone and allowed him to discuss how the Xbox One probably wasn't gonna suit someone serving on a nuclear submarine.
So this isn't black and white, right? Not all game journalists are siding with Sony. But what I'm about to show you Well, you decide. Amid the backlash to Sony's decision, just 7
Yeah, we also covered this. The fact that after the backlash, somehow 3 identical articles from IGN and IGN likes dropped almost at the same time, saying that it's our fault for being upset about this. Man, where have I heard that one before?
PlayStation games have sold more than 100,000 copies in the US so far this year. Only 7 PlayStation games have sold more than 100K physical copies this year in the US. Did you know only 7 PlayStation games have managed more than 100,000 physical sales in the US this year? Only 2 PlayStation games have managed more than 10,000 physical sales in the US during the week ending on July 11th. Okay, stop.
During the week ending on July 11th. Okay.
Stop. Why does this sound like one of those nonsense statistics thrown on the screen during an NFL football game? Like, Marshawn Lynch has rushed for more yards during the third quarter on Thursday Night Football in the second week of December than any other kicker has in the last 2 days. I don't know about you, but I like my psyops a little less obvious. I prefer if you shatter the puzzle and then let me put the pieces together, as opposed to just being like, yeah, this is how I'm trying to trick you. So why are these specific statistics being highlighted by multiple outlets? Coincidence?
But as one trained in the Force, you know that true coincidences are rare.
Well, it's because these 2 points of data are the crux underpinning the entire argument that globally, PlayStation needs to abandon physical games and that medium should die globally. And as Eurogamer points out, while this is focused on the US, it is one of the largest in the video game industry by revenue spent. As such, consumer trends there have considerable influence. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think I'm picking up what you're laying down. Basically, you're saying the whole world shouldn't be allowed to own games that they purchase, and that physical media deserves to die because Americans are fat and lazy and unwilling to drive to GameStop. Interesting angle. I'm not disagreeing with that last part, but it's like
The Act Man is like this close to pulling an Alana Pearson making a Why I Hate America video.
it's because the digital market in the US doesn't sell as well that we're gonna shut down all other markets. Okay, that's the argument, and that's what this data supports. Interesting. Now, I'm not oblivious to the irony that someone from Europe wrote an article embracing and emulating one of our most honored stereotypes. Yes, as Americans, we too often forget that there are other countries on planet Earth. We got 50 states, man, and some of us can't even name all of them. Look, I've seen tons of tweets and articles saying this.
All I need to know is the word Alabama, because that's where all the good songs go.
Same bullshit. Only 7 PlayStation games have sold more than 100,000 physical copies in this part of the world so far this year. There are 5 qualifying modifiers to this statistic. The more qualifying statements or modifiers you have for a statistic, the more narrow its applicability becomes, right? What they're referencing is a study for why digital...
I'm sorry, did the Act Man just say his whole yearly fucking supply and quota of fancy words just right now in 5 seconds? Holy, this is the fanciest I have ever heard him speak. That is definitely not his opinion. This is 100% some kind of article that he wrote or a video that he watched. There is no world where that is his opinion. Wow.
Games should be shut down in the US. What's not included is why it has to include 121 other countries, 62% of the globe, just to give you the percentage. The data they're referencing does not support the conclusion that they're reaching. Halo reaching! And the data they are presenting is an omission by lie, as Twitter community notes has been ruthlessly informing people of on basically every single tweet PlayStation has been posting. Physical games is a global problem. It's not isolated in the United States, despite what this European gaming news outlet thinks. So how about I give you one statistic that these articles...
I wonder who's honestly responsible for the death of physical media, that all these companies think the same thing. Because this has to be some dude somewhere in some big company who said, like, yeah, I need to do something special to get a promotion, so I need to find something that's really cool. And then he said, "Oh, what if we get rid of physical media? Then we don't have to pay that 30% retail fee or whatever it is, because it honestly depends on game to game and store to store. But you know, the average is, I guess, 30%." And he probably said that to his boss, and the boss was like, "I like this." And then that boss went to a party, probably on an island, probably by someone with the theme song, and whatnot, obviously. And they probably talked about it, and everyone was like, "Whoa, saving 30%, dude, that's rad." And then they all decided this is going to be a good idea. Because, I have been saying this from the start. This 30% shit doesn't make sense because you're still on Steam. When are people gonna buy your shitty games? On Steam! It's the biggest platform. On Steam! So that 30%, you're still paying for it. You're still losing it on Steam. You're just pissing off people. Again, the physical thing doesn't make sense. Like, people are too lazy to resell their games. Yes, there are some people that are actually doing it. There are some people who buy them on eBay and whatnot and blah 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 for discounts. But would you actually have bought it for full price if it wasn't discounted on eBay? No, you wouldn't have bought it anyway. So whatever company is still losing if you don't buy it anyway. It doesn't. If you get the game for free, they still maybe got one fan out of that. If you pay for the game, you got money and maybe a fan. But if they choose to not buy your game, you got nothing. So again, this no disc thing is just nonsensical. I think this is gonna actually hurt their sales. I think this is gonna damage them. Because a lot of people who own PlayStations, Xboxes, consoles in general, they do like owning physically things. A lot of people do have obviously collections. And the question is, are people gonna buy those games now that they can't have collections? I think a lot of people will refuse to do it.
Conveniently left out. Based on PlayStation's own metrics, in 2025, they sold an estimated 60 to 70 million physical copies of their games across the world. And they have stated that physical sales represent about 20% of their revenue. Can someone explain the business logic of that? It's like, you know, business is going great. Let's shut down a fifth of it. Yet despite how little this data actually says, some journalists are running with it. PlayStation fans are still furious about physical discs, but the data proves Sony is right to kill them. Polygon, what the fuck, man? Sony's...
If you're questioning currently the same thing as I, is he gonna bring up the fact that the whole date is bullshit? Yeah, it feels like he should have said it already, but he hasn't. Interesting.
Plans shift away from producing physical...
Does he just not know that this statistic is just based off a complete lie in the first place?
This for PlayStation might be unpopular, but new sales data has highlighted the stark business reality behind it. The stark business reality, you know, the data proves Sony is right to kill them. Like think about what they're saying. It's like, I just think of some like bread company CEO sitting there like, man, we're just not selling nearly as many croissants in Spain as we are in France. So let's shut down our business in France.
Actually, an ironically good analogy. Well played, Act Man. Well played, dude. That was actually pretty good. I liked it.
I'm not sure what Eurogamer, IGN, Polygon, or any of these other outlets are trying to prove. I'm so confused by their messaging that it's like we can just completely disregard this argument. It doesn't mean anything. But there's one thing I keep hearing around the block that really bothers me. It's the idea that Sony will not back down. There's a 0% chance they'll reverse course. Analysts
Yep, that does actually seem like it.
have insisted that there is zero chance Sony will change its mind. Sony has no inclination to concede any ground to this uproar. Industry experts point out the smart business sense behind this decision. It remains unlikely that Sony will U-turn on this. A grand reversal of Sony's plans is exceedingly unlikely.
I won't change my mind.
Oh, so he's actually not going to say that. Feels like, okay. So the thing about these physical sales only being 10%, or as all these companies like to say, turns out that was a massive lie. Because they took together Pal World, Fortnite, and all of these things, and they just dumped it in. If a game has a physical disc, turns out more than 50%, roughly 60 to 70% of console owners choose to buy physical. For PC gaming, it's a little bit different, arguably, because of Steam, but people choose the physical a lot. It's actually like 50 to 70% per game, depending on game, obviously. How much physical sales there are. Physical sales, when they are possible, actually win over, obviously, just, downloading shit. It's pretty wild. So that whole statistic of 10% sales is a lie because they add in Fortnite, things that don't even have discs.
Because I don't have to. I won't change my mind on anything, regardless of the facts that are set out before me. I'm dug in, and I'll never change.
Based.
Now, these articles aren't necessarily siding with Sony, they're just pointing out what Sony wants you to believe. That resistance is futile, but I find it odd that this statement is not followed by, and here's why they're wrong. That's missing. If you're wondering why game journalist has become a pejorative slur and insult, this is why. It's because some of these journalists and outlets seem to have forgotten that they're supposed to advocate for the customer, and yet so often they instead try to minimize the real issues.
But me personally, you can call me part of the problem. I actually prefer having digital
If you're from IGN, I will.
games.
Sony isn't even trying to convince us that the end of physical media is somehow a good thing. They simply want you to believe that it's inevitable.
That is the sound of inevitability.
I mean, how could they convince us this is a good thing when they put out a company-wide gag order? Have you ever heard of such a thing? Things are going great at Sony. Oh, what's that? The Dutch have filed a $500 million lawsuit? No big deal. Both Sony and presumably
Stop Killing Games also has gone into helping some kind of lawsuit. I don't know if this is from the Dutch. I think it's going to be another. Because when this happened, did I not tell you? Did I not tell you that Sony is going to get sued all over the fucking place? There's going to be a lot of countries that just sue them because of this.
some game journalists are trying to sow the seeds of doubt and defeatism in your mind. Do not water those weeds. That's the real message. The end of physical media is inevitable, and that we
can't fight nothing.
Sony is trying to act like they couldn't give two shits about our voices, boycotts, petitions, protests, or lawsuits. None of that will change anything. Now, this is a tactic known as suppression. It's used when a fire is too big and can't realistically be put out. So what they're trying to do is suppress the fire and make it smaller and then hope it dies on its own. If we ignore the elephant in the room, it'll starve and die on its own. But that's our cue.
Oh, that wasn't very woke of you.
That we need to add more fuel. We got to keep this fire lit like our homeboy Gwen, let me tell you. I don't know, man. After reading some of this, I'm starting to feel hopeless. Maybe they're right. Sony is a stubborn company, and when they make a decision, they don't reverse it.
And now, Sony has reversed its decision and will be keeping the PlayStation Store operational for PS3 and PS Vita devices.
Hold up, they actually tried shutting down those stores 6 years ago? The same ones they just took offline a week ago? Oh shit, oh yeah, you weren't supposed to see that. Okay, you got me. Maybe Sony has responded to our feedback once. But what did that backlash even accomplish? It only delayed the closure of the PS3 and Vita stores for what, 5, 6, 7 years? And what does it really matter if one or two
Good enough?
storefronts avoided closure and managed to stay in business for another 5 years? That's only half a decade. What's a decade? Just 1/10 of a century. But a century is just 10% of a millennium. So you see, that backlash didn't actually accomplish anything, is what I'm telling myself, right? So okay, besides that one time, which didn't matter, Sony has never reversed a major decision like this.
Following a major backlash from the Helldivers 2 community, Sony has reversed its decision to require PC players.
Okay, they have reversed things, but Again, this is not something that was gonna get through. There is no way they suddenly magically just decide, hey, there's gonna be discs again. No, I won't believe it. This is still this is still big of a decision. This is too much of a decision. It one thing is getting owned by in Helldivers or whatever. The other one is something like this, because this is massive. This changes everything. There is no way that they actually changed. I personally do not believe. And I don't want them to change it. I want Sony to perish. I want Sony to get completely obliterated by their own decision making. I want them begging gamers to return and forgive them. And then I want people to not forgive them, because we don't get anything by forgiving them. You're just forgiving a company that has none of your best interests in mind, so forgiving them is useless and bad.
To link a PSN account.
I'm starting to think that maybe the gaming community has a long,
Well, put that cap again. I wanted to see that headline.
a documented history of successful petitions and protests. Okay, I forgot about that, but yeah, okay. Maybe with enough pressure, Sony has backed down, but not this time. They are so confident that they don't even care if you cancel your PlayStation Plus subscription.
And now players are canceling their PlayStation Plus subscriptions en masse to send a message, but experts claim it won't do any good.
Oh, the doubting.
Ah, the paid experts. Oh no, who would have expected their opinions?
The doubting.
Yeah, take that. How does that feel? I mean, how naive are you? Did you honestly think that there has ever been
Equality.
a widespread coordinated boycott that actually accomplished something? Look at Xbox. They're like 10 times bigger than Sony. They just jacked up the price of Game Pass to $30 a month, and $30 a month is where that price is gonna stay.
Microsoft has finally dropped the price of its Xbox Game Pass subscription plan. Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, its top-tier plan, is now $22.99 a month.
You know what? Screw pessimistic
I actually have not checked what's happening with Xbox and the Game Pass thing at this point. Is the new thing out? Is this still in progress? I don't know. I have not heard anyone talk about this. It was a plan, but is it already here? Like, what's happening? I kind of want to know.
nihilism. I'm a delusional optimist now. We can beat this thing. And even if we can't, what have we got to lose? What was that phrase people kept saying 2 years ago during the Helldivers 2?
We have nothing to lose. That's the beautiful part of this. We can only save money. Easiest money saved in my life. I got places to spend money. I don't need to give Sony my money. There's other places, illegal places, that are funner to spend my money at and whatnot. That's a joke, YouTube. Relax, we're having fun. Huh? Yeah.
Fiasco. We dive together or not at all. Say no to Sony. Those words helped us all manage democracy. Goes to war with $1 billion company. Wins. We've beaten both Sony and Microsoft before. Now granted, Microsoft's wounds to Xbox were mostly self-inflicted, but our mass boycott and cancellation of Game Pass made Xbox and Microsoft bleed.
If it bleeds, we can kill it.
Every movement needs a catchy slogan, and 2 years later, we have our winner. No disc, no buy. We dive together or not at all.
Everyone fights, no one quits. You don't do your job, I'll shoot you.
Did you know that 62% of the globe, or 121 countries, are unable to create PSN accounts? Meaning they cannot access or buy any—
Yeah, me included. Yeah, I guess I'm saving money.
Any games from Sony or PlayStation in this all-digital future. I'm getting deja vu here. Does that number sound familiar? 121 countries? Oh, it's because Sony tried this same thing just 2 years ago. But instead of trying to block one game, now they want to block every PlayStation game. And this list of 121 countries is the exact same list that they were trying to block Helldivers 2 in. Not a single one has changed. So I have several questions, Sony. What is your beef with Madagascar? Is there some grudge you hold against Turkmenistan? Why? I find it hard to believe that Vietnam—
Understandable.
traumatized you in some way. Look, the point is, not even game journalists can figure out a convincing way to spin this horrible idea. Well, would you look at that?
Attention gamers, Sony's PlayStation Network is currently experiencing a major outage.
Rendering thousands of...
Oh yeah, we always forget to talk about that. Sony's always online future is probably complete garbage because Sony has lost your login information like 5 times in the past 3 years. They have been hacked how many times? And been offline and unplayable for literally weeks. Sony getting hacked is like a everyday normal thing. It's like they're not, well, they're probably not trying because it costs money to try. But Sony has failed at this absolute... Yeah, that I don't think that was here before. The Act Man's going bald, boys. What a time to be alive. Anyway, 10 out of 10, that was the Act Man. Have a nice day. Bye.